Last time on Armchair Violence.
If I was going to con you, which we can do an experiment, by the way, if you want to see if I can con you right now.
Maybe. Yeah,
okay.
we can try that.
And luckily, we're in a martial arts school now, and so we could do it as if you were here for a trial class.
All right, I'm really bad at play acting, but we can do that.
It's very easy.
He's also kind of a sociopath, too, so he's like, he's not a human.
Okay.
But that is a really good experiment because I do a lot of debunking videos. I am a really skeptical, borderline sociopathic person. So, if he cons me even like a little bit, that's bad news.
Well, so what we'll do is I have to preface it with a couple things because these are all important steps in the con.
Okay.
The con, it's all important steps into the sign up. It's not a con. Like the intent would make it a con.
Yeah.
You know what it's like when you talk about this? When I was a cop, the guys who were really good cops, their skill set was the same skill set as the criminal. They're just good at figuring out criminally type stuff. And it's just, what do you use it for?
Yeah.
Do you use it to arrest bad guys and find stolen property, or do you use it to be a bad guy and steal property?
For
it's
sure.
the same skill set.
And we talked about this yesterday off camera. We talked about what's the difference between a religion, a martial art, and a cult. And the only real difference is the intent of the leader. If the leader's intent is to help you understand the religion, well, now it's a religion. If the leader's intent is to help you learn self-defense, well, now it's martial arts. But if the leader's intent is to take for himself and to gain just for themselves, it's a cult. You're just a cult follower now, and he's a cult leader, and you're giving everything to him. So, but I do want to try this experiment with you, and we can go through. But I want to say this. I do want to preface it that in the experiment, there's a couple things that have already happened.
Okay.
One, me and you have already had a couple phone calls. I've contacted you at least twice. One, the initial contact, whenever you've contacted me, you probably sent me an email, you responded, or you called to learn more about the class. We've already talked. During that time, I promise you I've learned a lot about you. All right? And then next, I followed up with you the day before. Hey man, I just want to make sure that you're able to make it into class tomorrow. It's blah, blah, blah. Are you still able to make it? Make sure that we've gotten 2 phone calls now. Now, the next thing is you walking in the door, and that's where we'll pick up.
Okay.
Hey man, Rob.
Hey Jake, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man. I appreciate you coming in. What brings you in today?
I just wanted to learn martial arts, get a little bit better.
All right, cool. What makes you want to do this?
Just want to be able to defend myself. My whole family's bigger than me. Got to overcompensate by being good at fighting.
How big's your family, man? Brothers, sisters, beating you up?
My dad's 6'1", my uncle's 6'3", my other uncle's 6'5", my cousin's 6'7". My only girl cousin is still 5'11".
So you got the short end of the stick is what happened.
Yeah. The only man in the family to be under 6 feet in 4 generations, so I feel real good about that.
That's a lot of generations, man. So what was so you want to learn how to defend yourself, I guess, against your family from beating you? Is that what's up?
No, I just want to be a little bit tougher, be a little bit more confident, know how to handle myself a little bit more, quit feeling like the small guy.
Okay, and how long you been thinking about doing this?
Not super long. I just kind of decided like a few months ago, and now I'm trying to get into it, actually follow up on those, New Year's resolutions kind of deal.
I got you. So for a couple months at least.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. And this is I'm assuming that you're coming from home or work?
Home.
Okay, cool. So that's awesome. So it's not that far away. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So I do want to show you one thing. Here's our class schedule. All right,
Okay.
And obviously I don't have a real class schedule because this isn't my facility, so I don't know what the class schedule is. But what I want to do is just kind of show you the class schedule here. And let's say this is hypothetically something that you actually do enjoy. All right. Our classes are always around this time, every day of the week. So most people come in about 2 times a week or so. But how often would you come in if this is something you enjoy?
It depends on whatever I have time for, just because my job has irregular hours.
Oh, that's cool.
So, yeah, so some weeks it's going to be like almost every day, and other weeks it might be like a day or 2 a week.
That's awesome. So I guess it's still just an average of a couple times a week either way.
Yeah,
awesome,
probably.
Which is perfect. All right. By the way, I am curious because you hit me with your family thing, and I thought that was really interesting. Are they supportive in you doing this? Because it sounds like,
They're fine with it.
Okay, that's cool, because I think that's important standard.
I don't check with my cousins before I make decisions.
Okay, so you're a grown man. You make your own decisions. I like that. And then what's going to happen is as soon as class is over, I'm going to sit you down, and then I'm going to cover things like your medical history. I want to make sure that if you have a knee injury, my coach doesn't get into you because you're not trying hard enough. We want to make sure that we understand if you're okay, what you can and can't do, and we want to find out what your goals are so we can help you reach your individual goals. But as soon as this everybody starts to come in, I'm going to introduce you to one of our students or one of our instructors, and when you come on the mat, that's going to be the person that's going to work with you the entire class, and they're they're going to be somebody who's going to kind of mentor you a little bit and show you how all this works, so that way you're not with somebody new too and you're both just lost.
Okay.
All right, and they'll help you and somebody I trust. Once class is over there, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to meet me over at the front counter, and I'll show you how to sign up if this is something that you like to do.
Okay.
All right,
that
cool.
works then.
Now let's break down everything that just happened. I'm curious what your guesses are, but I want to tell you one statistic based off your reactions.
Okay.
So statistically, based off of everything and how you reacted to me, you're 75% more likely to sign up.
Okay.
All right, so go ahead.
All right, so I noticed coming in the door, the first thing you did was dig for information on trying to get like as much information about me as possible and why I'm here, and therefore what can encourage me to like keep doing it. And I gave it because like there's no reason for me not to.
Right, it was innocuous information.
Yeah.
It's stuff that's innocent. How many brothers and sisters you got? Where do you live?
right.
I actually told you everything I was about to do to you before I did it. We had
That's
the whole
true.
conversation.
Well, yeah, you said, he gave me plenty of pointers, but like I felt that questioning. I did notice that at least. And then the other thing I noticed is that throughout that whole hypothetical lesson, like at no point would I have ever had a chance to actually like stop and think about it.
Yeah.
Someone
You didn't
was
let him get a real word in that could have been an objection.
right,
to
like,
anything
at
said.
no point could I just look around
So-
and think a thought.
Just to touch on a few things. One,
Yeah.
the reason that happened, the reason I'm asking you questions actually is half the 5 objections, but the other half is no like trust. I actually genuinely would be
Right.
taking the time to get to know you.
Yes.
And
Dude,
so-
what's mind blowing is everything that you're doing, a good person would do. We talked
Yeah.
about the criminal versus the crook, or the cult leader versus the martial arts instructor, or a good guy and bad guy. It's the same skill set. I do know all my students' family. But it's like, it could also be used as a tool of manipulation.
Intent.
Yeah.
And that no like trust like wasn't suspicious.
Well, it
I just
shouldn't,
noticed it
because it should be
happening.
genuine.
Yeah.
what's your underwear size?
But but the thing about it is like it's a lot simpler than anything that you just said. It's actually way easier.
Okay.
Everything that I said, none of that was scripted. I'm just genuinely trying to get to know you, and that way I get to know you. Because a good coach needs to know you. I need to know what injuries you have. I need to know things about you. I need to know that you're not going to come in every week, so that way I can tell my receptionist, hey, if he doesn't come in this week, don't do a follow-up call for retention, because he's not quitting. He just can't, right? And so, but the next thing is that I need to break down all the barriers before we get to them. And the business game, in martial arts business, we call these the 5 objections. And so most likely, if I did not do my job correctly, like if I did my job correctly, the objections should already be taken care of, which we'll experiment with, right?
Okay.
But the 5 objections are, rather than people saying no, they say these things. I don't have the time, I don't have the money, it's too far away, I have to think about it, or I have to talk to my spouse. So if I was like, hey man, what do you think about signing up? And you were like, I don't know man, it's a little far away. Like you've already pre-programmed that response because I did not do my job correctly before we got to that. I need to know, the reason I asked you where you worked, if you're coming from home or work, is because the objection you would say is, it's too far away. You can no longer tell me it's too far away. You just told me you live right around the corner.
Okay.
Mark that one off. You can no longer tell me that you have to think about it. How long you been thinking about it?
Months.
Months.
Okay.
You can no longer tell me that.
I didn't even get that one.
You can no longer tell me that you have to talk to your spouse about it. Why?
Because I don't check with my family before making decisions.
You told me you're a grown man, you make your own decisions, right? So basically, if you said any of those things, you are now a liar. You know what you don't want to be? A liar.
And obviously, like, I can say those things, but I now feel pressure.
Not to,
Yes.
because you would force yourself. The next thing is distance, time. I have to think about it. I have to talk to my spouse. So we talked about all those things. Oh, and you can't tell me you don't have time because you already told me that you can make the schedule. You told me what your times were, but you can't tell me you don't have time because then you'd be a liar. You already told me you have time. And then the last thing is money. Now, money we didn't get to talk to because those come in what's called pre-framing. So technically, we would have talked about money 4 times, 4 times total before you actually sign up. At the end of this, I said, hey, as soon as you're done, all right, I want you to meet me over at the desk, and then we'll talk about how to sign up. The reason I do that is because your natural response is to walk out the door. I don't need that response. And plus I would train my team very well, but one of my team members was like, hey man, how's it going, buddy? Yeah, what's gonna happen is, yeah, blah, 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 you had a good time. All right, cool, Steve's gonna take care of you. Now, if I did my job as an instructor, and I know like trust, and I got you to come in, and I got you to feel comfortable, and this was already something you wanted to do. Again, it's not hard to sell martial arts. Martial artists make it hard to sell martial arts because they're morons. And so when somebody comes in, I'm already providing you with the service. Then the only little detail out of the entire ordeal, this much is actual training. Why? Because what are you going to learn, which we already talked about in your first trial? A basic kick, a basic punch, a break fall, a submission, or a defense to something. You're not going to learn anything above that because it's your first day.
Right.
So You could do that anywhere. Everybody does the same thing. The only difference is that they think that this much is technique and this much is business.
Yeah.
It's not.
So in his mind, is the martial artist who also doesn't own a school or run a school.
I don't own a school for these reasons.
He's like, well, shouldn't it be like, because I definitely know how to punch and kick and slam dudes the best, they should come learn from me?
See,
you
but
know?
I
And that's
know
that was
that's
never.
not the case. Yeah.
And I'm telling you, as a school runner, and Ed over here, he runs a school too. Very rarely do people walk in and go, hey, is this super effective? And is this the best martial art? And is this how I'm going to win a UFC title? How good they are at martial arts or how real their martial arts is, as Rob said,
It's that
this
much.
Especially
big.
like as a beginner that just walked in through the door, I probably know I wouldn't even be able to tell. Like, why even bother?
You have no context.
Yeah, I have no context. I have to learn from someone first before I get
But the
context.
reason
brilliant.
I really wanted to cover that in detail is because we always look at the con when someone's been conned for years. Like when I post, those people are already indoctrinated into the cult. You're never going to get them out of the cult. They have to make their own decision to do that, right? But if I'm a good instructor, I would do the exact same thing. Nothing would change. I would do it literally the exact same thing with the intent of making you better. But if I do the exact same thing with the intent of only doing something for me, then I take advantage of that information.
Look at this kid, he's an idiot. I bet that he can't even fight. 'Cause my Krav Maga skills could totally kill. Only my school does martial arts right. Blah, blah.